put your hands together for Ian Johnson.
Thank you. Nothing like getting all of your stats about you from when you're like 10 years younger, 15 years younger. Well, one, thank you guys. There we go. I will say I was the original game changer to a level none of you guys can do. I have changed what it is to be a football player. You can work your entire career, sweat your butt off, run, bleed, records, and what everyone will remember you for is proposing. Changing the game. If you're not known for proposing to someone, you're not a football player. So apparently I'm the #1 game changer because no one else has been able to replicate it. And anytime someone tries, they go, oh, remember that other guy who did it better. So boom, McDonald's of proposals right here. Only problem is I kind of set myself up for failure because every anniversary since has fallen a little short of that. Definitely not 14 million people watching every time we have an anniversary now. But first, I want to say thank you for guys having me here. From the Autovol guys, thank you so much. I will say I had a really, really smart, eloquent speech prepared. I was going to talk about all these things about Game Changer because that's what I do. I play sports. I know all about Game Changers. And then they're like, hey, you're here early. Do you want to take a little tour of this place that you thought you knew what it was? I was like, sure. What could it really be? And then boom. Like, okay, so I didn't know what this was. I've driven past like the little Sugar Beet place a bunch. I've seen the little white things. I didn't know what they were. And then you come back and it's like, oh my goodness. They have changed the game. So I will make a few changing to my speech because they're not just game changers. Apparently this building is a speech changer. But I think it's worth it because what they've done here is amazing. And what they've done here is also something that I see in the things that I've done as far as my sports, my business, that is 100% consistent with people who change the game. And the first thing I look at when it comes to changing the game, the first question you have to ask is, why are we changing the game? Like, why did you change the game? Is it just because I want to see anarchy? I want to watch other people, I want to watch the world burn. It's like, no, that's not why we're changing the game. We're changing the game generally because we want success or a greater level of success. And that's where most people define what game changing is. Because the two, success and changing the game, will generally go hand in hand. Most people stop there, which is just, yeah, I want to succeed, period. And my time at Boise State, my time in the professional, I played 3 years for multiple different football teams. That period is what you see is the greatest flaw across businesses, across sports teams, and we've all seen it, but it's hard to put your finger on the pulse until you actually experience it, unless you're one of the people actually pushing the game, changing the game. It's really hard. And I will tell you, being a game changer, to anyone who anyone who desires it, and anyone who's seen it, it's not exactly what you think it's going to be. It'll give you some of the greatest success you'll ever see, but it also robs a little piece of you that I will explain later. But the first thing I think about when I say changing the game is when I came to Boise State. Boise State was literally trying to change the game of football for mid-major schools. Mid-major schools were not supposed to compete. Mid-major schools were not supposed to be good. Teams with at this point, probably 9th out of 12 teams' budget in a mid-major conference, weren't supposed to do anything. At that point, we had the BCS, and you weren't supposed to bust the BCS. And I remember coming into Boise State in the very first day, and they said, we do things different. And I didn't know what that meant. And to be honest, I was 17. I came to college before most people. I was 17 years old, couldn't even sign my own scholarship. My mom signed it for me. Thanks, Mom. But I didn't know what was actually being built around me. And I didn't know what had already been built before me. All I knew was this guy up front was telling me some things and I should probably listen. But they said, we are going to change the game of sports. And I didn't realize until after I was done with all of this that what was actually happening. And that period in changing the game is where most people think of changing the game or success as a destination you arrive at. And the people who truly change the game, the people who truly achieve success year after year, it's, I want to change the game. I want to be successful. I want to achieve something new, ... to be continued. It doesn't end there. Changing the game is a process. It is not. It is a mindset. It's a lifestyle. It is not a destination you reach. If you look at the most recent Super Bowl winner, Andy Reid and the Chiefs. That is a guy that historically is known for absolutely pushing the envelope of what can be done on a football field. You look at a team I played for, the San Francisco 49ers. When I was there, this was before all the political stuff, so don't worry about any of that. Jim Harbaugh was like, I'm changing the game. And he was going back old school, bringing new school. He was combining things. A lot of like what you see here, manual labor with technology. He was doing all those things. But his biggest problem, and why he's in Michigan and not in San Francisco, his version of changing the game stopped when he got to a certain level. He stopped innovating. He stopped doing the things that got him there. And that's one of the things I saw with Boise State was, we got to Boise State, and I remember the biggest advantage we had was we were an amoeba. We changed, we evolved. The people we had were built and suited for it. People remember like, Boise State game was good for 5, 6 trick plays. We literally had a Rolodex of maybe 1,000 different trick plays, including, which we'll get to later, Statue of Liberty, that we would continually keep our opponents off balance with. The way we recruited was different. The type of people we recruited, the facilities we had, all of those things were different to change the game of sports. The problem with that was, as someone who loves Boise State dearly to my heart, you can start to see when someone or when a program, a coach, anyone starts to kind of lose that edge of what it takes to truly be a game changer. Things start to become stagnant. You get ahead of the pack and the pack starts catching up. And then it's, what do you do now? And it's like, well, you know what? The real goal wasn't to do this forever. The real goal wasn't to actually be a game changer. The real goal was to achieve momentary success. And that's why you see so many businesses, people, teams cycle in and out, because their true goal is not to be a game changer. It's not to be successful in perpetuity. It's to be successful for a moment, to achieve this finite thing that I can grab and then enjoy it. I was talking to Jeremy a second ago, and John, and I told you guys, being a game changer will rob you of something. And it's that freak out, pandemonium, crazy moment where you get to enjoy something you've accomplished. Because the most successful game changers, the people who are your best coaches in the world, when you see them actually achieve what they're going for, there's like 22 seconds where they're enjoying it. And then their mind's already, how do I do this again next year? You look at, like, whatever you say about Tesla, I drive a Ford truck with gas, but whatever you say about Tesla, that company is changing the game, and Elon Musk is changing the game in so many different realms in this world, and the guy never almost smiles. Like, and it's because he's not sitting back relishing in those moments of success that he can meet the next one and the next one and the next one. My wife hates me for this, and I blame it on football. My level of enjoyment for anything amazing or terrible is about this long. Like, no matter what it is, my children are amazing. I love my children. I've got 2 and 1 on the way. But like, if something amazing happens, I'm like, whoa, that was awesome. And that's about the depth of my emotion, because I analyze it and then I try and figure out, what do we do next with it? When something terrible happens, oh, we're in an accident. I take about this long to be like, wow, this sucks, I'm an idiot. Then I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm awesome. No. Then I'm like, all right, what do we do? What is the solution? How do we get out of this? And as a game changer, you start to realize, what are the things that actually push us forward and towards our goals, and what are the things that don't help? And we just remove every single one of the things that don't work. So for us as football players, we were taught about this thing called the performance anxiety curve. It's a fancy smancy way of saying there's a certain amount of anxiety or nerves that are good for performance, and anything above that, your performance actually starts to drop off. So if you're too low on this performance anxiety curve, you will absolutely get nothing done, because you just don't care. And you don't care about the results. And as you're a little bit nervous about the results, you start to take it seriously and you work harder. And then if you get too geeked out about the results, then you're just like, I can't do this, I'm gonna lose. And then you're gonna lose anyway, because you're geeked out of your mind and you can't perform. So there's this thing called the performance anxiety curve. And because of sports, we learn, like, there is a very happy medium where it's like, I have enough understanding of my surroundings where I can make a decision, I can enjoy something, because you have to enjoy what you do, but you don't enjoy it so long that you lose the opportunity to step forward and enjoy something else again. So if you really want to be a game changer, you're going to lose that little bit of yourself that gets to absolutely geek out of control, and be like, this is the best, I'm the best thing ever, I'm done, I've made it. Because game changers never make it, because that's not the goal. The goal is to continually push forward over and over and over again. And that's where the last little part of this kind of wraps it all together, where, like, I love the idea of Solutioneers, because the Solutioneers are like, if your game changing is your goal, the perpetual goal that's moving forward, your Solutioneers, your people, are the engine that drives it. It's your team. And to be honest, goals are great, long-term goals are great, but without the people, without the processes, none of it works. I mean, you've got all this stuff here. Without the people, without the dream to act, the dream is great, but the people to make it work are just as important. They're the engine that supplies this. I won't touch base too much on how to figure out what people and how to find people. You can ask questions later if you like. But the processes of being a game changer are simple. It's number one, understand the rules. And then number two, throw all the rest out. Everything you know about the system and how it's been done before, throw every bit of it out, and then ask questions, try, fail. And the story I'll leave you guys with before Jeremy steps up is the play you guys just saw, the Statue of Liberty. Has anyone heard how it was made for us? How we made that play look the way it did? Perfect. None of you guys know. So Statue of Liberty, in the old days, it was just that goofy play. Quarterback stands back there like this, and he's just standing there, ball's clearly right there in his hand, and then some guy grabs it and then runs away. So Coach Pete sat with us and was like, guys, we're going to come up with a new trick play. We're going to change the game, And I want it to be a Statue of Liberty. And those are basically the rules. Now, obviously, within that, it's also, we want to score a touchdown, and it has to be like legal for football. So those are your rules. And we got to the field. I remember it was me and Zabranski to begin with, because we just wanted to figure out, like, how was this going to work? And we just sat there, 2 guys, 3 guys, coach, in a field and said, football field, not a cornfield, football field. And we said, all right, now what do we do? And he's like, all right, so let's figure out the ball handling, because this is dumb. Like, we quickly X'd and A'd, said you can't just hold a ball like this. So we said, what do we do? Like, well, let's see if we can figure out different ways. Like, it'd be nice if they didn't, like, if there's misdirection. It's like, okay, so how do we misdirect? Like, no, let's not toss a ball, let's not fake a handoff. And Zabranski was like, I bet you, hold up, wait, I bet you I could pretend to throw a football. He's like, okay, so let's do hold the ball in the hand, throw it. He goes, no, that problem there, I can end up dropping the ball. So, okay, so, and then Peter's like, is there any way you can throw but hide the ball with your left hand and throw with an empty hand? Yeah. So we tried a few things, like, He's like, okay. He goes, okay, now we have a problem. How do we get the ball from behind your back to Ian? And we troubleshot that a bunch of different times and found a very risky way of getting the ball. Not the smartest, like you would think like it's not that hard, it's a football. It's a little harder than it looks. Come on, I'm talented, but not that talented. I'm just one man. We're used to getting the ball this way, not this way. And I've got to step over feet, or like, there is a way where we can track this, work out the footwork, but it has to be perfect. And that was the core of the play. It was like, all right, now we've got the ball handling, and then we created everything around it, which was the window dressing, to make it look like a bubble screen, a play we had done earlier in the year, all this other stuff that made it super duper fancy, and then how the guys would block. But that moment that we didn't know what we were creating, we didn't know what it was going to be used for, we just knew we were trying to push the envelope, and it ends up being part of the biggest game we've ever done in the history of Boise State. Some might say the biggest, I don't know, don't look at me, just one man, one man's opinion. We didn't know what it was going to be, but we knew we were trying to continually push things. And then when given the opportunity to do something special, that drive that was already innate in us is what allowed us to push. And I use those same techniques, those same things, same mentality without all the sweat and blood in my business now of trying to game change. And to be honest, I started out like this red hot, trying to change the game in my own business. And thanks to the guys at Autovol and making me prepare for this, I realized that I've actually been like a lot of those people who see that success as a stationary object that can be obtained. And I myself have let myself get to be an old school version of Gamechanger that stops. It's something I've seen at Boise State, it's something I've seen at other companies, and it's something I hope I never see at Autovol. But ultimately, that mentality of a game changer is so hard to hold on to. That mentality of being someone who wants to succeed and push boundaries is so hard to hold on to, that even someone who was part of one of the most iconic sports moments, a proposal, no, the football game, can lose it myself. So I encourage you guys to, in any way you can, identify what it looks like to change your game. Not define it as something that is stationary, that is to be achieved, but something to be pursued continually. Enjoy the process, evaluate yourself regularly, and just go out and change something. With that, I'll give it to you, Jeremy.
Appreciate it.